Okay, we are live. Welcome to the postgame show. Close game here. The Raptors win 106-102, right kind of down to the end. We had kind of the bench lineups closing out the game, which was interesting to watch. Well, we had Patrick Williams along with bench players, so kind of potato. Really, really do not enjoy. I to be fair, I haven't watched a ton of Chicago Bulls basketball, but I'm not an enjoyer of watching Patrick Williams play basketball. And I put a tweet out saying I think the Raptors tanked in the right year, because I think that's probably who they would have taken it for. And I mean, that's kind of a toxic conversation to get into, but it is. I just thought it was funny. I thought he was just horrible at the end, like missing buckets, turnovers, stepping out of bounds, missing a wide open three, missing a bunny. Drummond missed a bunny there at the end. I'm really surprised that um the Bulls didn't win this game. It seemed like it was right there for them a lot of the time, and I kind of had this feeling, maybe from watching too much Raptors last year, but I just had this feeling that it wasn't going to work out. But it did. It ended up working out, and only one thing I'll say about last season. This game reminded me of last season in that there was no like real big. We had Thad Young playing. We had Thad Young minus 13 tonight, by the way. We had Thad Young playing small ball center, which is out of necessity, of course. No Precious, no Pirtle, no Coloco still, so really thin on the center. And I think a game like this makes you very happy that they have Jakob Hurtle in the chamber, hopefully ready to go soon. I thought Vucevic really dominated, especially in the beginning. He was just anything around Thad, if whether it was a rebound, whether it was a drive, whether it was just anything to do with Thad and Vooch. Vooch was on the better end of that, which, Vooch is younger, taller, more athletic, more skilled. Like, that's his position. So I kind of, if I was Chicago, if I was Billy D, Dennis Schroeder's former coach, Al Horford's former coach, Joakim Noah's former coach. Fun fact: is he still in the NBA? I don't know. What's Joakim Noah up to? Maybe he'll come on the podcast. But I didn't think that they exploited that enough. Like, even though they did exploit it when they could, that's what I really would have, like, if I was Chicago, kind of put all my chips in. But I mean, it's preseason. I don't know if they're if like winning is the big thing. I think they wanted to see maybe their young guy Patrick Williams, kind of see what he would do, see if he could take the game over. Also, it wasn't him who, I don't even know who took that last shot for Chicago, that kind of like coming off that three with like 11 seconds left in the game or something. It was like, that was like a messier, less like clean shot. That was like the Kawhi shot, but like way more contested, way more awkward, with a way worse shooter with like 9 more seconds left on the shot clock. I don't know if that was the play that was drawn up or like, but that was, I have no idea what that was. It was tough. I thought it was very funny that TSN, I don't know if it was Matt or Jack said at the beginning, but TSN did not send the fellas down to Chicago. They were broadcasting remote. Don't really know why. Some people pointed out that it might be like saving money. We saw Sportsnet take all their content off YouTube and put it on television. So I think the TSNs and Sportsnets, I think they're pivoting a little bit. It's going to be, I don't know, I think things are going to become a little bit more exclusive. Sportsnet's running that ad that's like everything. What is it? It says it's everything Raptors. If you want everything Raptors, it's nothing but Sportsnet. And then 41 of the games are on TSN. So love the marketing in these. I didn't get hired by these companies. I applied, and they have better people. They have smarter people more just, yeah. So, but so they're doing their thing, I guess. Very cool stuff. I took lots of notes in this game. I don't know why. I think it was a close game. There was a lot going on. A lot of different players got minutes. And I thought there were some real standouts. I thought there was a couple kind of flubs from players in general. Based on the last couple shows, and if you follow me on Twitter, you might know who I'm gonna talk about in terms of I wasn't vibing with and don't just in general don't really understand. But I mean, whatever. It's not really what I'm that interested in, anyways. But so yeah. Also, I wrote down here. So I'll go into the game here, kind of break it down. But I wrote like every free throw just felt kind of traumatic, especially at the end there with JFL, like a little PTSD from last year. I'm using a lot of acronyms here. But so in the beginning, we got so Scottie gets kind of tangled up with Vooch a little bit, 10-22, and we'll get into the drama obviously that happened in the third quarter. Which honestly, that's probably a Raptor Moments video. But I think Vooch was the most interesting kind of character in that. I think he really, I think Vooch wanted to fight somebody tonight. Like, I really think, I think that he pushed Dennis Schroder in the back. And then Pascal had to come around and he was like tapping. Like, he was doing like when somebody's like traumatized, like, or they're on just too many drugs, and you're trying to bring them back. Like, that's what Pascal was kind of doing to Vooch, because Vooch was like he wanted to fight somebody. And I don't know why. Maybe something happened before the game on the way there, flat tire or something. But he was fucking ready to fight somebody. And him and Thad were kind of like shoving there at the end after he had absolutely dominated Thad. So I don't know, but yeah, he was right in he inserted himself. There was Colby White and Dennis Schroder, two smaller guys, both the same height. And Vooch was like, no, I'm the 11-foot guy here. I'm the big swinging dick on this team. I'm coming in, and I am pushing Dennis Schroder in the back. And I was surprised that there wasn't a technical for Vooch. I guess they didn't review that or whatever. It's preseason, I guess. But I think there were a couple technicals off that play. Speaking of Thad, he checked in 10 minutes into 2 minutes into the game. He checks in. And again, we've it's kind of like how Fauci was brought on in all these different administrations. It's like Thad is surviving. He's kind of like the Thad small ball center is kind of like the Jim Sand thing. It's just like it's gonna keep going. It's out of necessity, as I think it kind of has been. I would be surprised if that was a common look moving forward. I got Patrick Williams. He got subbed out 3 minutes into the game. Just awkward as shit. Just like I don't know. Needs yoga. I think a lot of players in the NBA should do more yoga. I think that's kind of something I've noticed. I think maybe some of the players think it's like lame, maybe, or like not cool. But yeah, I mean, just some of the I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I thought Siakam and Schroeder had a little bit of chemistry. Schroeder kind of set Siakam up for a few threes, and I thought that looked really nice. I like the pace that Schroeder's playing with. He's not like trying to do a ton. He's not taking over, but he's Is it authoritative or authoritative? Let's see if we can get the chat. Let's see if I can figure this out. Let's get the chat going here. So yeah, Dennis Schroeder. I thought, yeah, he was authoritative. And okay, we do got the chat coming here. Let's read some of the chat comments. We got Thad Young is the greatest small ball center. Okay, Flynn did his best to bring throwback vibes. Okay, kind of going from last season. Okay, let's spread these out a bit, and people. I'll keep I'll go back to these. I noticed a few things tonight. Okay, I love that you're on. Cool. LOL. Okay, that's good. And I was surprised the second unit pulled it off. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was surprised it went well, because it seemed like there was a few times it wasn't going to go well. Obviously, I thought Scottie came in and was really aggressive. He got Zach LaVine to kind of do something weird, like Zach was in the corner. This is kind of the start of the first quarter. Zach was in the corner, and Scottie just like he was going to shoot it, and then Scottie like really aggressive closeout, and it was almost like a Boucher closeout that you think not quite, but like it was an aggressive closeout, and you would think that, you know, maybe he could fake it or like whatever, but he ended up just doing this really awkward travel kind of thing. And Zach LaVine is usually like he's like the anti Patrick Williams. Like he is really tight. Like he's really balanced, really, you know, and so for him to, for Scottie to kind of put that fear into him and like kind of a vet, I thought that was pretty cool. But I think Zach had a decent game. OG Anunoby, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the mid-range thing is. The obsession with the mid-range. He shoots 36% from 10 to 16 feet, but he just loves that shot. I don't know. I don't get it. He shoots higher percentage from 3. He shoots a higher percentage from 23 feet than from 10 feet. But he loves that shot. Like he's always loved that shot. Like it's Kobe Anunoby. He gets in there, he's wide open, 19 seconds left on the shot clock. It's front rims every time. He loves it. He loves the shot. I don't know. When he talks about having a more impactful offensive role, I just picture more and more and more of those. So I don't know. He loves it. So gotta let him take it, I guess. I don't know. But I personally, not that it matters, would love for some of those to be threes, because a three is worth more than 2, number one. And number 2, his threes go in more often than those shots. So I don't know what, on offense at least, I don't really. Sometimes I lose players kind of, and I kind of, I didn't really know what. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Gary came in and was great. He hit a couple shots. There was one time where he kind of fell asleep under the basket. Dennis was driving, and Gary, I don't know what he was like. He was on another planet. Like he was in another like stratosphere. Like I don't know what he was doing, but he was just like walking under the basket, like as Dennis is driving in, and he realized like, oh fuck, like I better clear out here. Like I got a guy on me that's causing traffic on this. He realizes what happened. Dennis goes up. I think he missed the layup, ricocheted off, Bulls get it, they're running in transition, and Gary kind of, when he woke up, he immediately went for the steal, got the steal, passed it back to Schroder, I think, who passed it back to Gary, who missed the layup. But I mean, I like the waking up and going and doing, like, it's like Mocha Joe and Curb. Like he kind of got motivated and angry for that second, and he went and he did something. He gets the Mocha Joe award. I should do awards. So like an Anvil award would be really good. The Anvil award tonight goes to Jeff Dowtin, which we'll get into. My God, what is happening here? We'll get into all this Jeff Dowtin Malachi stuff, which is maddening to, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not important, so that's the most important thing. Gary 123 in the first quarter. He hit 2 just like cold threes, I think it was off. I think it was off the catch, and it was just that, and then another one just that. Like it just didn't even flinch. It was kind of like when Marquise Noel in summer league threw up that incredible pass, and then did like the Steph Curry, like just kind of turning around thing. He kind of did it with that coldness, except they swished. We didn't see Marquise tonight either, which was interesting. Malachi kind of got all the backup point guard minutes. JFL, can we call him that? JFL came in at the end, made some very good passes, by the way. So Scottie played really well, like filled up the stat sheet, very aggressive. I thought he maybe took his foot off the gas maybe a little bit in like the second, third quarter, but came right back. The only thing I would have is he was very whiny tonight with the refs. Like he was like emphatic, and I thought he got away with a few fouls, and he really gets into the ref game. I've noticed that with him. He is very emotional with the refs, like even more emotional than, like, that's, I think, when he gets the most emotional is with the refs, which is unfortunate because the refs aren't like in the game. that's my only kind of like, other than that, which doesn't show up on the box score, but other than that, I think obviously him and Pascal had a few just like beautiful plays in transition, and that's obviously where he shines. And I kind of like there was one play where Scottie fed it to Pascal Euro stepped, and it was beautiful, and I'm like, I wish we saw that like maybe a little bit more. I feel like the Scottie Pascal chemistry still has a ways to go, but you see it in kind of flashes, and obviously in a transition setting where Pascal's running the floor and Scottie has the ball and is in addition, what am I saying? He's in dishing mode. That makes no sense. He's passing the ball. He's facilitating the transitional play. And then when you can get it to Pascal, obviously, who has the footwork to get around the guys, that's probably going to be your best combination in transition, is going to be Scottie to Pascal, just kind of your best passer, and then probably your best mover shaker around the rim. Gary still has a bit of, I'd say Gary and OG still a little bit around the rim, although Gary's at the rim percentage went up like 12 points last season or something. So he's obviously doing quite a bit better. Grady Dick checks in at, when did Grady check in? Q2 Grady checks in. And there was one play where he was wide open for a three. I think it was Boucher, didn't swing it to him. And I think it was Boucher. The shot missed, and Grady just like blasted in for the rebound. And I just thought like, and it wasn't like the thing about Grady is he makes decisions like so quickly. Like it was, I feel like most NBA players would take like, okay, so if you're making a video, you have say 24 frames a second, like most NBA players, I wouldn't say they would sulk, but they would have kind of that like, oh fuck thing for maybe like 2 frames or whatever. Grady doesn't even really seem to like access that. It's just immediately going for the offensive rebound. That's one of my favorite parts about his game. I made a video about him a month ago, 2 months ago, about how like, him doing a Scottie Barnes impression or impressions, which is like he does these things in the game that sometimes look like he is 6'8". It looks like a 6'8" kind of lanky guy like getting into it, and offensive rebounds and transition is where you see a lot of that stuff. And I thought that play was really good. And his shot was, I guess he's yet to have a super hot shooting game, which, I mean, whatever, it's still the preseason. But he makes these really timely threes. Like he made a very timely three tonight. He made a very timely three last game. And I think in maybe summer league or another, like he seems to, fourth quarter, other teams making a comeback, he seems to hit that corner three. That corner three is where in my brain so far as I'm registering Grady Dick, which by the way, every Grady Dick comment I have to manually approve on YouTube, which is great. Shouts to YouTube for all their new like ad blocking pop-ups and stuff coming out. Love that. Give me more money, basically. Give me $124 a year for whatever, 900,000 views or whatever. I need that $100 a year. So, don't block those ads. It's important, people. Where would I be without this? Speaking of ads, the Leon's digital ads are back, which I love because they essentially eat the player, especially like white guys. That's why the Milwaukee Bucks couldn't wear their Cream City uniforms anymore, because the digital ads just eat them up. I remember Juancho got eaten up by a few Leon's ads, so that's always fun. I didn't take any pictures of that, but I did take some pictures last year. Just like their head and shoulders just disappear, and they're just engulfed inside the Leon's ads. Shouts to Leon. I don't know what that is. I'm not from Ontario, but I assume it's an Ontario-based business. I don't think it's a guy. I'm not assuming. Somebody in the chat, can somebody in the chat maybe tell me who Leon? What does Leon do? What gives Leon the right to like eat the Raptors players? Okay, Flynn can't do much longer. He can't seem to shoot. He went, what are you, like 0 for 8 or something? And then it's not even really the shooting. So I don't know. I just don't get. I guess I just don't get it. I hear like, oh, he stayed after the game for 30 minutes and took shots. His biceps are huge this year. It's like, it's his 4th year. And then somebody on Twitter, somebody from TSN, made a Malachi Delano comparison about how like Malachi hasn't been given any chance and Delano's been given all these chances. And I just looked at it. I was like, that doesn't sound right. So I just looked it up. Malachi, 2,156 NBA minutes. Delano Banton, 975 NBA minutes. Obviously, Malachi one more season, but it averaged out to Malachi 15 minutes per game, Delano 10 minutes per game. I don't know. I don't understand this narrative of he's never been given a shot before, but I think just give me the position. I'm five. Everything's with shoes now. Scottie shot up to 6'11" because he's wearing shoes, I guess, now or something. I don't know. I'm 5'10.5" with shoes on MLSE. I got the 5'11", maybe 6 foot wingspan if you really get fucking back there and do some yoga or whatever. Like get me in this thing, or get Jeff Dowtin in this thing. Maybe you get Jeff in here a little bit. Give Jeff a shot in these useless preseason games. There's got to be something going on with Dowtin behind the scenes. That's Raptor fan base. We love the conspiracies. I've heard a lot of them. Let's start. What's going on with Dowtin? I don't think he's churning the franchise around, but it's the thinnest position on the team by far, and he's there, and I don't know. Got a few Malachi comments in the chat. How many minutes did Malachi get? I feel like Malachi played a fuckload of minutes tonight. Malachi Flynn, what do we got here? 20 minutes and 20 seconds, -3, 2 points. So that 20 minutes, like, could 4 of those minutes gone to Jeff Dowtin or something? I'm just trying to imagine like the atrocities that would be happening in Tacoma, Washington if Jeff Dowtin was Eric Flynn's son. I don't know, because Eric Flynn's all over talking about how Malachi's finally free from Nick Nurse. He's finally free. He can finally show the world. He can finally drop 73 at a Pro-Am game. I don't know. I just think it's a punchline. I don't really, I don't really care that much. I think I've made 4 videos about him or something. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't really get it. Real lack of rim protection from tonight because of the lack of center. And I think I already talked about that, how I was surprised that Chicago didn't, exploit that a lot. And Gary not only hitting those threes, so this is in the second quarter now, Gary not only hitting those threes but a lot of assists. I know Will, friend of the program / minority owner of Raptor Moments and Raptor Moments Enterprises, put out a little video about Gary holding the pass, and I think his playmaking has really improved. I always thought he had good chemistry with Pascal, but he's starting to integrate more and more players. I've always thought that Gary was kind of underrated by a lot of people, and just kind of Gary's the same age as Delano, by the way, same year. Unless you're 8 months old, then being born in the same year is the same age in my opinion. Precious, Gary, and Delano are all 99 boys. So, I think 99. I think Malachi's older than Gary. So, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm 78.9% sure that Malachi's older than Gary. What else we got in the fucking chat? Okay. Anyone like Javon? Okay, wait. We'll get to Javon. He's living our childhood dreams with that elite mid-range shot chucking ability. Is that OG? I don't know. FR bro, Scottie, never mind. I don't know what that means. Grady looks like a 19-year-old out there, going to take time. He's not strong enough, but he's smart. I agree with that. Kind of like how Malachi hit the weights in year 4. Maybe Grady can do the same. Sorry, Malachi. Just such an easy punchline. Leon's is a furniture store. Okay. Furniture. What kind of furniture do they have? Like couches and stuff. Cat Regime, avid commenter, friend of the show. Can he get free from the Raptors too? Can he get free from the Raptors too? I don't know what that means or what that was about. Sorry, Cat Regime. Are you the same as Cat Holder, by the way, on Twitter? Boucher said Flynn's been balling in practice. No, Boucher said Flynn was not bad. Listen to the fucking Raptor show with a little bit more respect than that. Please, if you're going to do one thing on the chat, do not misquote the Raptor show, okay? That is a very personal thing for me. Flynn is the kind of player who is functionally there, but just not enough. Don't know what that means, but okay. He never seems to be actually enough, LOL. But can't seem to shoot much at all. Dowtin just looks better out there. Well said. I think they're giving Flynn a look to decide if they keep him this last year of his contract. I mean, they've extended him twice. He's got fans. Messiah said he wanted to see more Malachi. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of the alien here. I think I'm in the minority. Malachi is a lot of support in the fan base for. He's right down the highway from me too. He's a local guy, Tacoma. I was just down there a couple weeks ago for a Mariners game. Shouts to the city of Seattle. It's pretty much the same as Vancouver. It's just one big fucking suburb that's like connected down the same highway. Shouts to Eric. I love that picture of Eric and the turning to a Malachi Flynn pod. I love the picture of Eric Flynn. He was at a party with like the boys, and just the floor tiles reminded me of something out of like an acid trip or something I posted about that. Okay, so going to the half, it was a pretty close game, and we've got McDaniels and Dick here in the third quarter, and I thought that they came out, and again, so later in the game, I thought McDaniels in the fourth quarter was a little bit. I don't know if timid is the right word, but just like holding it maybe a little bit and a little bit unsure. But I thought in that third quarter that him and Grady were really keeping the pace, really making really fast decisions. I can see if Darko really is like all about this, 0.5 quick decision making, if that really is like the thing, I can see McDaniels and Grady really fitting into that system. And as somebody said in the chat, Grady needs to get stronger. At the end of the game, he was kind of falling around quite a bit. Like he stepped out of bounds that one time, and then that was on the right side, and then kind of on the closer side, he was kind of like bobbling around a bit and kind of off balance. Maybe a little bit of yoga, I'm not gonna say less TikTok, more yoga, but maybe do both. Like you could do some yoga stuff on TikTok. I don't know. But do some yoga, get some of that balance. It just was a little bit, janky, could call it maybe. And then we got so Pat again to Pat Williams. There was Pat Williams I got here. We're getting close to the little skirmish. But Pat Williams 851, like he tried to do the Michael Jordan Space Jam dunk. And I mean, it did not go well for him. Just it was just like he took off from the free throw line, and you could tell he had a couple of intentions. And within a second of him leaving the ground, it was not happening. Like it was just off. Like it was just he was dancing in the fucking air and not athletically. Like when someone he kind of reminds me, like, when you go cliff diving, is that a thing in Ontario? Do people, are there cliffs? Is there a cliff high enough in Ontario to jump off of that it's exciting? On the West Coast, there's lots of cliff diving, and there'll be somebody that like jumps off and they just flail everywhere, and they're just like, that's kind of what he's doing on the court a lot of the time. Yeah, don't do the MJ poster dunks. And speaking of biffing dunks, I mean, Andre Drummond. I mean, I think, like, I take it personally as a 5'10.5" with shoes on and orthotics person. If you're like 7 feet and your dunk like doesn't clear the front of the rim, like you need to jump if you're 7 feet, you need 6 inches above ish, maybe not even that much above. You got to jump like three. I don't know. Anyways, it was I have such a depraved personality that I take that as a personal slight when someone who's 7 feet tall in the open floor doesn't have enough pop to get the dunk down. I mean, there's anyway, yeah, there's like 6 foot guys on YouTube who do that. But I thought he had again, but with like Drummond again, it's Drummond versus Boucher. Like, why are you not just crushing that matchup and feeding him and feeding him and feeding him, and him, taking advantage? And I don't know, maybe there was something more advanced happening on the defensive end that I'm not smart enough to pick up on that the Raptors are doing to mitigate that, but I didn't really notice it. I was just kind of wondering again, like, why aren't they just like, bully ball with Drummond in the post against Boucher, who, to Boucher's credit, would finish that dunk in transition, but in terms of body to body, I think Drummond could probably move Boucher around quite a bit, and I just was kind of baffled that they weren't exploiting that a little bit more. So now we got the skirmish at 8:47 of the third quarter. So I watched it over a couple times. Colby White. Bit of a bump on Schroder. When it happened live, I didn't really think it looked like anything. On the reverse, like kind of on top of is that reverse? Whatever the fuck is on the top of the hoop. That angle, I thought, a little bit kind of showed maybe there was a bit of a bump. And I think it's more like Schroder plays with this edge. Like, I don't think it takes a lot for Schroder to kind of get kind of a bit riled up, which, in playing basketball is good. And so then you can tell there's a bit of beef kind of, they're coming, Colby White's coming down the floor. I don't know if he had the ball or not. I think he did. And then there was a screen set. I think Vooch was involved in the screen, but there was a screen set kind of high up, and it came off the screen, and there was a bit of shoving, and then it was Vooch who kind of came in, hand on Schroeder's back. Pascal comes in and is like, love everyone. It's all good. It's the preseason. Vooch, you're 11 times bigger than this guy. Like, it's fine. It's all going to be okay. You're on the Chicago Bulls. It's a storied franchise going absolutely nowhere. It's all going to work out for you. Okay. Desumu. I think Alex pointed out this is a very, like, could be a Japanese name. Desumu, but there's an N in there. Desumu. Like, what happened to this dude? Like, 2 years ago, people were saying he was like the next, 6'8" point guard, kind of what a section of the fan base fantasizes Scottie being. That's what, like, Desumu was supposed to be. And I don't know, man. Like, I think last year he wasn't doing a ton. He was a second round pick, so he was like, I don't think the expectations were really high. It was a big surprise that he kind of stepped into this role. And now with no Lonzo Ball in the team, or out with injury indefinitely, shouts to Stephen A. Smith for bullying him. I don't know what the hell that was all about, but okay. Shouts to Stephen A. Smith, I guess, getting those interactions up. But again, kind of with what the Raptors are dealing with, there is a little bit of a thinning out at point guard on this team, and so I'm surprised to see Desumu not come in until 6 minutes into the third quarter, especially in preseason where we're trying to kind of see what we've got here, see what's happening. So I was a bit surprised and disappointed, because in theory I do like that tall facilitator, and I'm not jealous at all of being a short point guard. Malachi, a couple more turnovers. He came in the game, immediately turned it over twice. Bulls go on a 7-0 run. Coach calls a timeout. I don't know. Let's see the chat. What's going on in the chat? What is going on in the chat? Well, that's super embarrassing because there isn't any new messages in the chat since I last checked. So maybe instead of saying that before I check the chat, I'll just check the chat without saying that. Fourth quarter, I thought they came up kind of sloppy. There was a lot of kind of turnovers, and it was messy. It didn't have that. The quick decision thing kind of went away. Again, I was saying like McDaniels and Grady, they were really quick decisions in the third quarter. And the fourth quarter, I thought the whole team just kind of discombobulated. And then Scottie hits a really nice three at 10:32 in the fourth quarter. The three is looking smoother, maybe a little bit faster. I know there was a video of going around in the summer. Scottie Barnes's release point is 85 times faster now. I don't know, but it definitely looks smoother. That could be a good video to do. Maybe like, is it actually faster? Like kind of like I did with the OG DeAndre DeRozan kind of picture in picture with the time. I could maybe do. I don't know. That seems like more of a Samson thing to do. I'll let him do that. Samson, I know you just watched every Scottie Barnes pick and roll. You need to watch every Scottie Barnes three and give me like a graph each, like month by month, how much faster the release has gotten. That would be good. Although with his height and like people aren't really guarding him from three either. Like the three was wide open for him. So I don't know if the fast release point is super important now, but obviously I guess in the future, if he gets better, people start recognizing the three a little bit more, closing out a little bit more aggressively, that quick release is going to be more important. For the time being though, he's pretty like, he has the room to kind of operate as he needs it, which, you know, will be good for his development until he gets too good at it, and then teams start adjusting, and then we'll see from there. But yeah, he played really good. Like he looks really good this year. Liking the whole energy and everything. Drummond misses the dunk at 4 minutes. And that's maybe when I was like, because I thought the Bulls were gonna win, but then the Drummond thing was kind of the first like crack in the arm where I was like, like that could be spiritual, like that could have a significant consequence on the, you know, the world. So we got the all bench lineups to close the game, and Patrick Williams. And nice passes from Javon Freeman-Liberty, who comes into the game at a very weird time, like right at the end, I guess to balance out the point guard responsibility, I guess, because he was on the floor with Malachi. So that was a kind of an interesting lineup because you've got these two backup point guards. So I don't know what the strategy, if that was like a win strategy or if that's a let's see how these guys play with each other strategy. That would make sense if that would make sense to me if like Malachi was a good shooter, because obviously JFL is a very good passer. But I don't know if that's going to be a thing that we see. Malachi Flynn and Javon Freeman-Liberty in the backcourt. We'll see. That could be an adventure. We didn't see any Marquise Noel tonight, which I thought was kind of surprising. He's been getting run kind of at the end of games. Maybe because it was a closer game, they were a little bit tighter, but it still seemed like a lot of guys got in. Mogay got in at the end. He had a really nice dunk. But yeah, maybe there was maybe a little bit more of a like let's try to win this then. And honestly, the Bulls, I think, just kind of like, I don't know what their end of the game execution was. I don't know. I don't know what that was. And I just think that the whole game would have been different if Jakob was there, or if, I don't know if Precious, because we saw that last season and before with the small ball Precious. I don't know, but definitely if Jakob was there, even maybe Koloko, I just think a bit of rim protection really would have changed the outcome of this game, even though the Bulls didn't really take advantage of it as much as they could have. I think having that presence there would have shut down a lot of because Vooch is like a very talented big, like probably after DeRozan, and I don't know. I don't do the Bill Simmons thing, but like where is the Levine Vooch? Like how far away are they from each other in the top 875 list that Bill does and reads out on the podcast? I don't know. And then yeah, when JFL missed that first free throw, I was like, okay, because it was a 3-point game at that point. I was like, okay, I'm scarred, I guess. And he hits the second one, and it was one of those. It was one of those, like, I don't know if it hit the front or the back first, but it was one of those ones that, like, once it went in, it was kind of like it kind of, like, it wasn't a, but a free throw is a free throw. And then they go down, they get the last second heave, which honestly was probably a better look than the three they took with 9 seconds left in the game. Raptors didn't foul, no point in fouling, don't give up the 4-point play. Raptors get the W. And yeah, what are they, 3-0 in the postseason? Holy shit, they're cooking. They are. Did they win 3 games in a row last year? Let me know in the chat. Oh, we got more chat messages since I was being a whiny baby about it. Oh, we got a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of stuff in the chat. I gotta go, like, the post game. I wish you would sit down. I don't have a chair. Maybe here we got some suggestions. Maybe put some Raptor stuff on the wall. Make a set out of the room. Well, Drummond is an old man who could never jump. Is that true? I don't know. Chaotic energy makes this man stand behind what he says. Don't sit down. Yeah, most of my favorite, I guess comedians usually are sitting when they're doing their whatever, riffing and stuff, I guess. I don't know. I probably would sit. There's a bed behind me. I don't have a chair. I kind of like swaying back and forth. I could put some stuff up on the wall. That'd be like a pretty unique thing to do. I don't really see people doing that. But I don't know. I got this picture of the ocean behind me. It's pretty fucking special in my opinion. And I'm wearing my grandfather's hat. So, Thad and Flynn, yeesh. Is there any chemistry with Schroder and the team? Is there any chemistry with Schroder and the team? Is there any chemistry with Schroder and the team? Okay. Schroder's on the team. I don't really know. He's only played like 3 games. I don't know. I think he's not standing out or anything. Like, he's not the star of the show, but I think it's, well, A, it's too soon to really tell, and B, I think for a point guard, especially with the type of player that he is, like, I think it would be a mistake for him to come up and just try to ball. Like, I don't think he's going to play like he did in FIBA. And there were a lot of people who were super excited. Maybe I was a little bit excited, but people were very excited about Schroder at FIBA. And it's just different. It's just just hits different. Malachi's defense has been a lot better this preseason. They're still going after him, but they're getting a lot less out of it. He's a lot more playable, even on a bad shooting night like this. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Do you think the Raptors should part ways with Flynn? Do you think the Raptors should part ways? Well, I don't know. So these are the bigger questions that, like, I'm not smart enough to answer. I can kind of look at, like, in-game stuff or specific stuff, but kind of those bigger questions, like, should the Raptors part ways with Flynn? I mean, I guess I don't know what has he added in the 4 years. Is there anything that he's added that I'm missing? Like, he won Rookie of the Month that 1 year. I don't know. And yeah, he's like decent at defense. He was DPOY at San Diego State. Like, he's not a terrible defender. He's not a bad defender. And maybe I'm not smart enough to know who is and who is not a good defender, because I feel like defense is so much more of a team thing and a structural thing. But I think individually he's definitely, I don't think he's like a lockdown defender. But he was a pest when we played him in Days Old. think that was maybe Schroeder. Anyone notice Scottie and Pas? Okay, here's a cool spelling of Pascal. It's Pasquale with an accent. Scottie and Pasquale bump into each other at least twice in the game, and one of them really seemed to be fighting for the same spot on the floor, and Scottie won out. I did not notice that, but I have noticed kind of awkward, like, I kind of know what you're talking about. I didn't notice it in this game, but I do know what you're talking about, where it's like they're both kind of going for that same real estate at the same time, and it is a little bit like maybe like overlapping, but I didn't notice it this game. But I definitely, when I watch, I do like to watch the games twice. That's probably why I sound really stupid right now, because I watched the first game and I'm writing notes, and I'm trying to track like as many players as I can. And honestly, sometimes I lose players. Maybe Malachi played amazing tonight. I don't know. I'll watch it again and I'll be like, wow, I'm an idiot. I seen one of the bumps by the free throw, didn't notice it fully. If Malachi made more plays like Fred on defense, it would help, but I've never seen his defensive upside. Yeah, I guess a few more kind of steals and stalks, I guess they're called. I don't know. But yeah, I do think I'll kind of end with this. Like, I do tend to watch the point guard position a little bit closer, because it's like naturally that's what I played growing up. So just when I'm watching basketball, I'm kind of watching it like through the point guard's eyes a lot of the time, and so I feel like I'm more inclined. And to be honest, I've made 4 videos about Fred and 4 videos about Malachi. So I think either one of them, I've just kind of been like, I don't know, like I think Gary's a very fascinating player. I think Scottie's a fascinating player. I think OG can be a fascinating player. Pascal's obviously a fascinating player. I just thought tonight, like, in my opinion, not that it matters, but like it's a preseason. I don't know why there isn't more of a distribution or more like seeing what they have from other guys who they have as kind of point guards. Like even Javon Freeman-Libri, like why not give him a little bit of a run just as him being the lead facilitator, and see that. That's just me talking from 10 million miles away. I had don't get mad at me, all my credentials were revoked in Victoria, BC when I pulled that stunt at training camp. I don't know anything. I'm not connected to anyone. I don't have any sources. I'm not smart. Eric Flynn on the pod, ? Yes, that would be great. His like just reading his like Facebook posts he would be an amazing guest on the pod. I would how would I play that with him? 'Cause I think just from reading his reading his stuff, like he's like an aggressive, like I think he coached a lot too. He's talked about how he's like any time that he railed against Nick, he would always point out that he was also a basketball coach. So that's like me being like, yeah, I'm a point guard as well as Malachi. Maybe I did say that at one point, but I didn't mean it that way. But in all seriousness, MLSC, consider giving me Malachi's spot. That's the motivation for all of this. But yeah, Eric Flynn, if you're watching, please come on the pod. Maybe bring some Raptors decorations. I don't know. What do you guys want to see on the wall? One sec. I have a Chris Bosh jersey. It's right here. One sec. So like what? So you can put like this would be like on the wall, I guess, like behind me. Or I think honestly, like I did with the Raptor Moments pods, like before, last year I did the kind of interview styles, like doing the going to different locations. Like I went to the Philippines. I filmed a couple episodes from Zihuatanejo, Mexico. And then the other one was the skating rink outside of New York. What park was it? Some park with the skating rink. So I could go, I think going live on location to some places would be good. It's just, it's kind of a bitch with the software / flying there, but yeah, maybe some stuff on the wall. I'm not very entertaining. I know it would be incredible to have a bunch of stuff on the wall that could look at instead of me. That would be great. I agree with that. We'll look into it. I'll get some of my people onto that, some set design. I guess this is a little bit minimal and disgusting. But so yeah, that's the game. Raptors close game. 3-0 so far in the preseason. I don't know what they were in summer league. I thought Scottie was probably the most impactful, powerful force in this one, which you love to see. The bully ball stuff is looking really nice. The three's looking smoother. And I guess the only kind of like shitty thing, but I guess it doesn't really matter because there was so much bench play in this game. Like, if not that the Raptors are expected to be a good team, but if you're going to be a good team, you should beat the Chicago Bulls by more than 3 points. Bulls are probably in that like play-in range. I could see the Raptors and the Bulls being a bit kind of in that same world this year. They seem to kind of be. I feel like the Raptors have more talent, but for whatever reason, they seem to kind of be level with each other. But I think they could be in that soup of around that. Could be around that area. The Kings win was obviously much more of a emphatic thing. We got any more last minute things in the chat? Tennis ball on the wall, like the Raptors show. They have tennis ball on the wall? Okay. I gotta research this a little bit. I'm honestly surprised that I even did this. I was gonna do this last year, but I pussied out, because it's like you go live and like sometimes you just don't. I don't know. Like today, I'm kind of in a bad mood. I didn't really want to do this. Other times it's like hell yeah. But so then when you commit to it, it's like okay, I gotta commit to like every game. Got to keep it consistent. So I'm just honestly I'm surprised I even did this, but we'll get the set design figured out. That's important. The Gary missed dunk this preseason. Gary missed dunks this preseason have been pretty funny. I think he got blocked or fouled on one or two of them. Yeah, I guess around the rim, it's still a little bit like it was weird. That was one of the stats last year that I remember being like really surprised to see that his at the rim finishes went up like 13%. Because just like eye test, there are still a lot of like moments where it's like he has so much aggression from the 3-point line. I don't mean like rabid, just insane, but just like ice cold threes, no problem letting that thing go from the 3-point line, no problem letting that thing go from the mid range. It seems to be like right around the rim, and obviously he's not super tall, he's not super big, but just like, yeah, even on dunks sometimes there's just a little bit of like a slight hesitation around the rim. Like it's not catastrophic, but it's a little like, how like Fred sometimes, for example, like Fred was horrible around the rim, and he would kind of like it just felt like it fell apart right at the end. You just get there and then it's just like like it's kind of deflating. You get all the way there and then you just I'm trying to think of a metaphor on the fly, but I can't. Like when you drive to McDonald's and it's not open. You drive all the way there and it's not open, but they're open all the time, aren't they? I don't know. Gary's got a little bit of that, even in transition sometimes, like when there's a guy behind him maybe, or there's like almost like the Drummond thing, not as extreme as that, but if there's a guy behind him, if he's trailing, he doesn't so the opposite of this is like Precious is like he hesitates from everywhere. But when he's at the rim, it's just like fucking like bang. And then obviously their height, this is not a hot take, their height and where they play and the position they play is going to determine a lot of this. But yeah, around the rim, there's a little bit of like, I don't know what it is, but there's a little bit of that hesitation. Maybe his vertical isn't that great, or maybe whatever. But again, Gary's still younger than Malachi. So I feel like he's one of those players I've been higher on than the kind of collective rest of the fan base. I think I've made 17 Gary videos, just to put in context of like 5 Fred, 4 Fred, 4 Malachi. I think I've made like 17 Gary videos. He's the type of player that just selfishly I wish I was able to play more like when I was younger. Kind of came up in the 90s or the 2000s. Guards, especially point guards, you were the facilitator. You were not getting into the mid range and doing floaters and little turnarounds. And so I really like watching that stuff. And maybe that's why I don't really like watching Malachi and Fred, because it's traumatic, because that's how I was kind of forced to play when I was younger. And you see a guy like Gary, he's got that flair. He's got the footwork. His alignment is like fucking perfect. And I just remember last year, I remember wondering, because Nick has a very specific way of teaching how to shoot. I've actually taken Nick's shooting program. I didn't go anywhere to do it, but I bought Nick's shooting program last year, and I went through it several times. I think about it quite a bit when I'm shooting, and there's certain things in that, and I just I wonder back to last season if there was ever, I'm sure there was, but I would God, I would, not that I have any money, but the amount of money that I would pay after I get the set design done. That's number one. After I get the set design done, I would pay any amount of money to be in the room of Gary being like, actually, I kind of not having my arm, off to the side. I like it a little bit more in middle, I wonder if that was ever a discussion, or if Nick was just like, hell yeah, you're a great shooter, do whatever, or if Nick was trying to get him to do certain things. Because if I'm a young Raptor, if I'm on the Raptor, if MLSE, they see this, call me, I'm coming in. The guy that I'm watching, the guy that I'm standing behind and looking at his hip alignment, his shoulder alignment, his elbow alignment, his wrist alignment, how he's shooting the ball, how he's releasing it, how he's getting a shot, his balance, his follow through, the beef. They still teach that. I'm watching Gary. I'm locking in on Gary. Sorry, Nick. I don't know. Maybe that's not, that's why I didn't make it to the NBA because of that one reason. Okay, we got more chats coming in. International locals will get you Masai's attention. He loves that international element. I don't know what that means. Imagine we swap Pasquale for DeMar. Okay. I don't know what that means. He goes for it, and sometimes he gets schooled. I like the aggression, but he's still a little less athletic than we all wish he was. I think this was with Gary. Gary's been very good this preseason. The ball has been moving through him this year. Let's go. Yeah, the athleticism with Gary. Again, I think it's a bit of a yoga thing, and when I say yoga, I don't just mean mat yoga. There's a fucking incredible video, and I'm not saying that that not every NBA player is doing this. I'm sure they are, but there's a great video. It's the B-roll of the video that you want to watch. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander working out in a garage in Hamilton. I added a couple of those clips into a video. Forget what video it was. But it's not even the main part. It's some fluff piece that some news station did about, I don't even know. It was about Shai and whatever. It was this. It was a morning breakfast show. What is the breakfast television? That kind of thing. But the B-roll footage was all this training footage of Shai, doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do maybe in a weight room. Jimmy Butler has a lot of these workouts on his channel as well. De'Aaron Fox has a couple of workouts that I've kind of followed through and tried to follow along with. But a lot of the stuff that Shai was doing, you can see why he has that insane balance and that change of direction by the workouts that he's doing. And I'm sure all the NBA players do these workouts. Is not some thing that Shai has figured out, but I'm saying on a continuum, maybe there's certain players that do more of those types of workouts. And I do think with athleticism, a lot of one-legged stuff, a lot of stuff with resistance bands, a lot of functional, when Jimmy Butler lifts weights, for example, he will instead of doing, this is just one example. There's fucking, this is the stuff I watch. I don't watch any, sorry to other people in the Raptor space. I watch Will and Alex, but I don't watch a lot of commentary basketball stuff. I don't find it interesting. I would not watch this show that I'm doing right now, to be honest. If I would not watch me doing this show. I like to watch yeah, like the Shea, working out. I like to watch. I know Drew Hanlon gets joked about a lot and stuff, but I like him. I like Paul Favorites. I like watching their really nerdy, like slow-mo stuff that like I can kind of, learn from and get little tricks from. But yeah, I think in terms of with Gary, like doing more of those functional, because I think there's a little bit of stiffness. I think like athleticism, a lot of athleticism is flexibility and movement patterns. And oh yeah, with Jimmy Butler with the weights, for example, like instead of Jimmy Butler doing like 100 pound dumbbells on the bench or whatever on incline, like he's got resistance bands around, I think like 50 or 60 pound ones, and doing like different movements with them, and not really the type that you would see if you just like walked into a gym, the approach that most people would take. And then Shea, of course, you've got him pushing this fucking like weighted sled down a concrete road in Hamilton. Again, lots of one-legged stuff, lots of resistance bands. I guess the De'Aaron Fox stuff is probably the most in-depth kind of workout stuff. But yeah, I think Gary, like, that's kind of the one. His handle looks a bit better this year, but that is that athleticism. That's like if he adds that to an already very polished shot. I love his mindset. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Not only him coming off the bench and being like okay with it, and him being professional in the media and not being like, oh yeah, this kind of sucks. I don't even really mean that. I mean, like, I remember watching him in the bubble in Portland when he shot like 67% from three in Portland in the bubble, and just his mindset, his confidence, his not giving a fuck, like his short-term memory of he doesn't care if he missed the last shot. Again, not to bring it back to certain people I've talked about too much in this podcast, but you don't get that with everybody. You don't get that with most players at all. And so I am so happy he signed the fucking extension. Or the option. I don't think that was talked about enough. And he's really somebody I'm looking at this year, and I'm kind of always looking at. Obviously last year dipped a little bit, but he's I am an enjoyer. I'm a Gary enjoyer. I like those aerobic workout videos from the 80s. Okay. Tybo. Was Tybo 90? Remember Tybo? Is that... My mom bought the Tybo tapes, and they had the Gazelle. Remember the fucking... I think it's the Gazelle with the thing. If you tip on the Gazelle, don't use your hands. I see people in the gym and they're on the Gazelle, and it's like you're pulling, you're assisting your legs. Like, just put your hands behind your back, stretch you can do a behind the back shoulder stretch. You can be a real asshole in the gym and do the above the hand stretch while you're doing the Gazelle. And if you really want to like put, Slipknot or Lamb of God or System of a Down on the Gazelle, get a medicine ball on the Gazelle, practice with that hand placement as you're on the Gazelle, and systemically on the upswing. That's going to do a lot for your floater. Anyways, I thought about doing content like that, like how to do a whatever by Gary Trent, how to shoot behind your head like Chris Boucher, how to yeet a three like Kyle Lowry, stuff like that, tutorial videos. I thought about that. It'd be more fun to do if I was in Toronto and could film with other people, but Gary, one of those shooters we need around Scottie. They have good years ahead together. Yeah, and I don't know if it's the reason. I think they drafted Grady because he was the best player available. I think a lot of people, I was really surprised he was still available. I thought he would go top 10. But I think he, in theory, is like, him and Gary are great fits with Scottie in how Scottie plays, because obviously his ability to find people, to facilitate, when you don't have good shooter, I mean, that's a pretty obvious boring point. If you don't have good shooters, it's not a good combination. So I do think, and with Pascal as well, Gary and Pascal have very good chemistry. They've always kind of had a little bit of that chemistry, and it's because they can create space for each other, because they're both effective. Gary's effective from the 3-point line. Pascal's much more effective from the elbow. So when they kind of have both those things going, like as a defense, you're kind of like, fuck, like, do I aggressively go for the closeout on 3? Do I try to move in, maybe double Pascal on the elbow? That creates a lot of havoc. I saw a lot of that last year. That was like a one positive from last season, was just seeing a lot more of that kind of like defenses just kind of not. And so, yeah, I hope that continues. And I think, I was thinking about this, like how similar, like there is an overlap, I guess, between Grady and Gary, but Grady's not really, I guess, at that level yet where he's going to take like serious minutes away from the shooting guard. But I do think they have some similarities in their game. Like, I do think Grady's a little bit, potentially kind of as advertised, a little bit more of like I guess Gary's too. I was gonna say Grady's more of a movement shooter, but I mean Gary's a really good movement shooter too. I mean they do have similarities for sure in their game. I think where they both like threes, obviously. They both like that pull up, the 1 or 2 dribble pull up, kind of around that elbow kind of range. Gary's got a little bit more of the footwork down, but they kind of take their shots in similar places. And they're both kind of hustling. You see, like they're both scrappy. They're both hustling. There's been a few times where Grady's kind of like flown off the court, diving for stuff, and Gary's kind of that same way. So they're both obviously shooters. So yeah, I think they're both good fits for Scottie. And I'm running out of stuff to talk about, so probably. Yeah, thanks for the chat. I think it was better reading the chat this time than not reading the chat. So. Yeah, Raptors with the W. Did we go over an hour? Holy shit. That's incredible. I hit an hour. Wow. Preseason game. So, very exciting. Very exciting stuff. Time to go watch baseball. I managed to not look at the score in the baseball game. I fucking hate how the two Texas teams that I don't like are playing each other. And the Phillies, who I regrettably have kind of fallen for a little bit, are playing the Diamondbacks. I've also fallen for. So. Such is life. Please do not tell me any of the game scores in the chat right now. I'm not even going to look because somebody's going to be a dickhead and do it. But